let's go.
Good morning, everyone. So woke up today and a little action happening in the Hysterocrates laticeps tank. I see this is the second laticeps. The first one we lost seemed to have drowned. This one has definitely gone into the water on its own accord. It had been in its burrow for the last good week, but I'm seeing at the bottom of the tank, it doesn't look to be covered in an air pocket like I would be expecting. So I'm gonna mess with this guy a little bit, make sure it's alive and that it is down in the bottom of the tank by choice and not by drowning. Alright, so here we go, guys. We can see this is the other Hysterocrates laticeps. He's currently down at the bottom of the tank. And let's see if we get a little view. He did have choice. He's got land up there. But he ended up down here. So again, I'm going to try to poke at this guy a little bit and see if he is moving or we lost this one too. Not appear to be moving, so I am going to try to pull him out, I guess, and see if we get any recovery on land, as gentle as I can. That's unfortunate. Does not look to be alive, but like I said, I'll take him out, see if he recovers, and if not, I'll give you guys an update. Alright, I'm back. So, based on losing both of the laticeps, I decided I'm just going to break this experiment down. I don't like how it's working. This tank had my Hysterocrates gigas in it. I haven't seen the gigas, so I've got a completely terrestrial setup here that I'm going to start scooping all of the substrate out of the island we had in the gigas aquatic setup, and hopefully there's a spider hiding in there, and I'm basically going to do the same thing for the crassipes, who I have seen. He's definitely alive. The laticeps was alive yesterday, but from the earlier video you saw, I found it basically drowned at the bottom of the tank this morning. Not sure why. I had multiple ways to get in and out of the water. Had a terrestrial area I could have got to. I don't know if maybe instead of it hunting the fish maybe hunted it. The angelfish are maybe a little too big and aggressive, I'm not sure. So again, I'm going to break all these down, set them up as terrestrial, and I'm going to rehouse the fish I have into some setups that are, we got fish tanks too, so they'll get moved over into some of the fish tanks. But here we go. This is going to be, I'm going to do just the gigas tank for right now. Prepped another tank. I won't make you guys sit through all that. And I'm going to move the crassipes into basically another terrestrial setup, and we'll go from there. Maybe I'll add some little water area inside the tank to see if they're interested in any aquatic activities, but to give them a much larger land base instead of the island setups, which were mostly aquatic based. Based on what I've seen so far, it really seems like only that Niger Delta, and I don't know if it's an individual behavior or if it would be more common to the species. I'll have to see if I can get some more of those guys possibly in the future and see how they behave. But that seems to be the only one of all these spiders that truly chooses to be aquatic. You've seen it set up in my other videos. I'll add some more video to show you his setup, but that spider chooses to be aquatic. He's continuously underwater, and like I said, he would have thrived in these island setups because it's very similar to what I had him set up in for a little while, just to see how he behaved. So with all that said, I'm gonna get started on trying to see if there's still a gigas in here. I haven't seen it since I put it in, so I don't know if I'm gonna find anything in here or if I'm just gonna be moving some empty dirt over into the new tank. So I've just got a spoon here. Try to keep it nice and easy. Scoop by scoop, move it over, see if I get see any movement. And spread the dirt I move over around. See if we can find this gigas. I have a feeling it's not in here though, or I think I would have seen some movement already. So unfortunately I have them out, but for some reason, when I do the crassipes, I'll try to get a little bit better video and show the plants, the silk plants I had in there seem to actually have wicked the water out of the aquatic setup into the islands, and not quite flooded, but made the islands way moister than I had them set up. So I don't know if I lost the gigas in basically if it drowned in its island, because there's definitely like there's probably an inch of water. If you can see this stuff's very wet. There's a good inch of water just sitting at the bottom of that island, even after I remove all of this substrate. And as of right now, I haven't seen any movement, but I also don't see any signs of a dead gigas in here. So I mean, there is the possibility that it did escape the tank. We did have the very first laticeps escape, but you can see this molding we added along the edges. I really don't think it could have got out at this point, but hey, it could have surprised me. I might have a gigas running around my house somewhere. Alright guys, so off camera I did some more gentle digging through all the substrate you just watched me remove from the gigas enclosure, and did find a 100% dead gigas buried in the substrate. So not sure what happened to that one. Don't believe it drowned. It was in the island, the dry island with substrate. The island was moist. There was I think you saw in the video, there was probably a quarter, half-inch of water at the bottom of that island that kind of got wicked up. So I don't believe that one drowned. So not sure what happened to that one, but unfortunately we got 3 out of 4 losses so far in this experiment. So I'm now going to rehome the crassipes, who as of my last check was still alive. So let's keep some fingers crossed, and I'll proceed with a rehoming video of the crassipes from the aquatic island type setup into this nice normal terrestrial setup, just to try. I want to keep them alive. I'm not trying to kill spiders. So unfortunately I would call this experiment a large failure, but as said, going forward, and maybe I'll add a little water feature inside of this normal terrestrial enclosure and see if the crassipes makes any choices to venture into the water at any point. signs of life, but I'm also not seeing any corpse in here either. We still got a decent amount of substrate to move out of this little island, so we'll see what happens. But at this point, my expectations are that I don't find this gigas in here. Which will be unfortunate, but again, that's why I'm breaking these down and gonna set up at least the one Crassites I know is still kicking in a more terrestrial setup, so hopefully he can thrive in there and reduce the risk of another drowning. Still not really seeing anything that resembles a dead spider, and I'm definitely not seeing any movement in here. Which I really believe at this point I'm getting down to the bottom. If there was a spider in here, I think it would have freaked out and tried to escape with the amount of scooping I've been doing. So guess I'll get the rest of this out of here. And at this point I'm going to say there is no gigas in here. I'll try to look through the substrate again with a flashlight, maybe some tweezers, see if I can locate a spider corpse anywhere in here. I guess the one positive is that I'm not going to have to set up a whole nother one of these for the Crassites, so I'll be able to go right in this one because there's nobody in there. I'm going to just turn this one a little bit, try to get a better view, see if I see anything I couldn't see. So not lucky for me, but maybe lucky for the gigas. Maybe this guy actually did escape. Which I would much rather than him having bit the dust in here. I'm at the point where there's no more substrate to really pull out of here. There's just a little bit of water down at the bottom. So, see if I can get you guys a little bit better view of what's going on. So, this is going to be the more terrestrial setup that I'm going to move the Crassites into. And there's that, it's not even an inch, but there's a good remnant of water down in that island. I already took all the fish out of here before this video. So it looks like we lost 3 out of 4. 2 definite fatalities and then possibly an escape or another fatality in this one. So not very happy with how this experiment turned out. But live and learn. So I guess the Niger Delta seems to be the only one that truly has chosen the aquatic life, because I'll show you the Crassites when I get to him in a little bit. I have not seen it in the water or touched the water besides maybe dipping its legs in right when I put him in there, but he has built a nice terrestrial den inside the island Which, if that's how he wants to live, there's no reason to keep him on that little island and risk having him drowned as well, or her. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and try to rehome this Crassipes from the aquatic setup to the terrestrial setup. See how this goes. Gonna start by getting these guppies out of here. Probably should have done that before I started the video, but they're gonna get moved over to the enclosure that the Niger Delta's in. I wouldn't mind having some guppies in there. Right now we just got swordtails and pink fathead minnows. So, just got a little cup of this tank water. I'll use that to acclimate them to the other tank's water. One guppy. You tell this other one's gonna be a pain in my butt because he keeps trying to hide under the island. He knows I'm trying to catch him. Gets them out of the way. So this is the plant that seemed to have wicked up a lot of the water and kind of filled up the island to make it very moist. Stick that over there for now. Maybe. There we go. Move these guys up and out of the way. And I probably should have grabbed my catch cup. That would have helped. I'm going to do that real quick. I didn't bring them over. Let's see, where's this? That's a good size one. So I'm going to try to use this to transfer the Crassipes over into the terrestrial setup. Got my trusty spoon. Let's sit right here for now. Gonna move some of these pieces of cork bark into his new enclosure. Barker. Actually turn this a little bit so I got a better view. I don't know if you guys will, but I will at least. Alright. I'm gonna bring you over for a second, give you a view of this before You can see this one wicked up a lot of the water, but he's built this nice drier area himself up out of the water. And again, like I said, try to get him out of there while he's still alive, hopefully. So I basically grabbed the whole den. I'm gonna move that over and we'll see if it comes out of there. Not seeing any other movement in here currently. So hopefully I got him in that first scoop. Poke around in here just in case I missed him. Because he absolutely had some denting going on all the way to the bottom of this island. So he could be hiding down in the water. I'm gonna take all the substrate out. And transfer it over to the new enclosure in case he's hiding in any of it. So no movement in the water. So I'm confident he either came in that first scoop or I lost that one too somehow. Close this enclosure up, get it out of the way. And I'll bring you guys over to try to be able to see if we can find this Crassipes in here before we close up this enclosure. So I believe he's gonna be in this section if he's in here. So I'm gonna try to just slowly move this around, see if we see anybody. Unfortunately, this is not looking very promising because I really would have expected some movement at this point. Which is really disappointing because I absolutely saw this guy alive yesterday. I'll do a better dig through the tank if he doesn't come popping out of here somewhere. This is getting very disheartening. I was really expecting somebody to come jumping out at me by now. I haven't seen any movement. This sucks. Hey, there he is. He is there. Fantastic. So the Crassipes is right there. I think you guys can see him. Right by my... He was buried up in there pretty well. So that's fantastic. That makes me happy. I was definitely getting really disheartened. Of course, he was in the very last piece of substrate I started breaking apart. So we got that guy saved. I'm gonna, let's see, move this around a little bit, try to even this out. Probably add a little bit more, maybe some live plants in here. We'll see. Readjust some of these corks so he's got some hides. A large lava rock in here. I think I'm gonna move that up a little. Try to use that to give him a decent hide. That'll possibly work. You know, put a piece over by where he is. All right. So you can see him down in that corner. I don't know how good a video I'm getting. By the way, I'm holding this. I'll give a little follow-up right when I finish decorating it. But we at least have the Crassipes who made it. So 1 out of 4, not the success rate I was looking for. But luckily we didn't lose them all. And now I'm confident I won't lose this guy in this terrestrial setup. Like I said, maybe I will add like a smaller, maybe I'll even use one of those cubes as the water instead of the land, reverse the setup, and see if he chooses to do any aquatic adventures in the little cube instead of having to live his life in the cube. So again, I'm very disappointed in how this experiment worked out. I don't like losing animals, but I hope you guys kind of enjoyed following along. I'll give updates on how this guy's doing, and I'll definitely give some more updates on the Niger Delta, who does like the water. And once this setup is all complete, I'll do a little follow-up and show you how it's doing with some more plants. And I think I will add the cube as a little water area, reverse it. So enjoy.
Let's go.